Stop being good. Carl Jung's Forbiddance. Lesson to reclaim your power. Have you ever felt that the harder you try to be a good person, the more life seems to drain your energy and repay you with ingratitude? There is a silent exhaustion that haunts those who pride themselves on their impeccable morality, their infinite patience, and their inability to say no. If you identify with this fatigue, the truth I am about to reveal today may be uncomfortable, but it is the only key to your freedom. Carl Jung, the master of the depths of the psyche, believed that being merely good is a dangerous form of cowardice disguised as virtue. Before we dive into the abyss of your shadow to rescue your true power, subscribe now to the channel at Knowledge and Wisdom USA and turn on notifications. For this is the place where convenience ends and deep wisdom begins. Most of us were raised under the dogma that goodness is the absence of evil. We were taught to suppress our instincts, hide our anger, and stifle any desire that might seem selfish or aggressive to society's eyes. Carl Jung observed that this attempt to be perfect, instead of being whole, creates a pathology he called the persona of goodness. When you force yourself to be good all the time, you are not eliminating your darkness. You are merely pushing it into the basement of your mind, where it becomes an autonomous and destructive entity called the shadow. The problem with being a nice guy or a nice girl is that you become predictable, manipulable, and, above all, powerless. A person who is incapable of being cruel is not a good person. They are merely a harmless person. There is an abyssal difference between the man who keeps his sword in its sheath and the man who does not even possess a sword. The first is virtuous by choice. The second is merely a victim of his own weakness. Jung stated that toxic morality is born from repression. When you deny your capacity for aggression, you also deny your capacity for protection. By trying to be an angel on earth, you end up becoming a doormat for others to wipe their feet on. This happens because your shadow, deprived of light and recognition, begins to sabotage your life through psychosomatic illnesses, depression, or irrational outbursts of anger that you cannot explain. Boundless goodness is, in fact, a defense mechanism to avoid conflict. You are good because you fear rejection, because you fear facing the judgment of others, or because you do not trust your own strength to deal with the consequences of being who you truly are. This goodness is a mask that hides resentment. Inside, the nice person accumulates a silent hatred for all those they help, because deep down, they feel enslaved by the expectations they themselves helped to create. To reclaim your power, you must commit what Jung would call a crime against your own image of sanctity. You must integrate your shadow. This does not mean you should become an evil or criminal person, but it means you must recognize that you have the capacity for evil within you. Only when you accept that you are capable of being selfish, fierce, and pitiless do you gain the ability to control these impulses. Real power does not come from denying the darkness, but from bringing it into the light and giving it a constructive function. A man who has integrated his shadow has presence. He does not need to shout to be heard. People feel his strength because they know, instinctively, that he is dangerous but chooses to be civilized. This is the true forbiddance lesson. Virtue only exists where the potential for the opposite exists. If you are good only because you cannot be bad, your goodness is a biological lie. The destruction of your life through excessive goodness manifests in a lack of boundaries. You accept jobs that exploit you, relationships that drain you, and friendships that only exist as long as you are useful. By trying to please everyone, you end up being no one. Jung taught us that the process of individuation, the path to becoming who you were truly born to be, requires you to disappoint people. It requires you to destroy the version of the saint that others love, so that your authentic version can breathe. Reclaiming power means reclaiming the right to be hated. It means understanding that your anger is a tool for marking territory and that you're healthy. Selfishness is what guarantees your survival and your purpose. Without the strength of the shadow, you have no energy to achieve great changes in the world, as creativity and ambition live in the same place as the impulses you try to hide. Look at the people you admire in history or fiction. They are rarely nice in the conventional sense. They are complex figures, often harsh, decisive, and possessing an unshakable will. They possess what Jung called character, something that an excess of morality dissolves. By stopping being good, you begin to be just, and justice often demands firmness and an end to tolerance for what is mediocre or abusive. It is time to stop apologizing for existing and for having needs. It is time to look in the mirror and embrace the monster you locked in the attic. For that monster is the only one who can defend you when the world becomes unjust. The journey to wisdom is not an ascent toward the light, but a descent into one's own darkness. Only there, at the bottom of the soul's well, will you find the gold that your superficial goodness never allowed you to touch. The cost of your perfection is your soul. Every time you smile when you want to scream, a part of your life force dies. Jung warns us that what is not integrated into consciousness appears in the external world as fate. If you refuse to be conscious of your own shadow and your need for power, you will be a victim of people who use power unconsciously and cruelly. The world is not a place for the harmless. It is a place where the balance between light and shadow defines who leads and who is led. By reclaiming your power, you stop attracting abusive situations because your own energy projects a signal that you are no longer easy prey. You become a sovereign individual, capable of real compassion, because now your help is a free choice of a powerful being, and not a tribute paid by a being cornered by fear. Do not be afraid of losing friends who only liked your submission. Do not be afraid of being called selfish by those who can no longer manipulate you. Freedom has a price, and that price is the death of your persona of goodness. At the end of this journey, you will not be a better person in the eyes of others, but you will be a real person in your own eyes. And being real, for Jung, was the greatest achievement a human being could aim for. Life does not reward blind sacrifice. It rewards the courage to integrate all aspects of being, including those society told us to hate. Reclaim your power now. Stop seeking external approval and begin to build your own interior cathedral where light and shadow coexist in majestic harmony. If this dive into Carl Jung's Forbiddance lesson awakens something deep within you, do not ignore that call. The path to true wisdom requires the abandonment of the illusions that keep us small and harmless. To continue exploring the mysteries of the psyche, the secrets of history, and the hidden laws that govern reality, join our community at Knowledge and Wisdom USA. Subscribe. Leave your comment about which part of your shadow you are ready to embrace. And share this video with someone who urgently needs to reclaim their own power. Here, at Knowledge and Wisdom, we do not just seek information. We seek the truth that transforms.